Well, the League of Ireland is back, and it's the last big Friday night for a while because with the European action and FAI Cup, July pulls the different teams in different directions. So it's a big night once again. I'm Rory O'Connor, Aidan Fitzmaurice. We're going to start at Talca Park where Shelbourne host Dundalk. And we might start because a week ago we were bringing you the news that Joey O'Brien had left Shelbourne. I think at that stage I probably expected them to have something lined up that within a couple of days they would have made an appointment. They've got Europe looming. They're still in the mix in the European race certainly, but a week on, still no white smoke from Talca Park.
No, they have the advantage in Europe that they have a bye into the second round. So if they're in first round action, I think they would have made a move by now. They need to get through that round, so that's given them a fortnight breathing space. Still no manager yet. My understanding is that Stephen Rice, former League of Ireland player, and now with Brentford, a set-piece coach, is their ideal target. I don't think Stephen's going to go. I think for a lot of reasons, career-wise, family-wise. I understand his family are just moving over to London this summer, so Stephen has a job. He's on the bench in the Premier League. Why would you walk away from that to come back and manage Shelbourne now? Maybe in the future, maybe there might be a reason, career CV reason, family reason for Stephen to come back. So if Stephen says no, Stephen Rice says no, which I imagine he will. Shelbourne, I'm told they're surprised at the quality and the breadth of applications, particularly from abroad, so they're going to take their time. Sometimes you get these CVs in from any sort of random coach in Malta or Cyprus or Israel or anywhere. There's a lot of heavy hitters who are in contention and keen on the job, so they're going to take their time. It won't be this week, but I think next week certainly there will be somebody. They want somebody in because they have advantage of watching Shelbourne against Namakaliu. Shels play the winners of that in the second round. They want somebody in place to see at least the second leg of that tie, if not the first.
Well, Lorcan Fitzgerald's still in charge. He oversaw a come-from-behind draw up down in Sligo on Saturday night. Dundalk, who Shelbourne welcomed to Talca, were ahead in their game against Waterford and then had a bit of a collapse in the second half and a bit of a setback for Kieran Kilduff, who strengthened the side by going and getting Trevor Clark off Shamrock Rovers. It's fourth. Dundalk are in fourth, Shelbourne are in fifth. There's 4 points between the teams and Shelbourne have played a game more. Dundalk, I think, are still looking up the table despite last week's setback. This is a huge chance for them and really bows and pats above them. If Dundalk can win on tomorrow night, it makes life very difficult for this new Shelbourne manager long term. This is a big moment in Shelbourne's season. Yeah,
it is, and be interesting to see what Lorcan Fitzgerald does because his experience, he's only just in the job. He's academy coach, he's new to this. He's Oran Casey back. He'd been out since February. He came on in the Sligo game, his first game, so he's had some minutes for the under-20s, but do you put him in for a game like that? That's a huge risk, and that's a big call for the manager to make, and that's why someone like, if Damien Duff is still in charge, Damien doesn't make that decision on his own. He leans on Joey O'Brien and his staff. And what do you think? Can we throw somebody in? He's been out for so long against Bemi Arubi, who to me is the most threatening striker in the league at the moment. That's a big call. So I don't know if Shels have even made that decision yet. Do you put Casey in or do you leave him out? It is, and Shelbourne be interesting as well. Sean Boyd, a lot of unhappiness with how things ended for him in the derby. He's back from suspension, but does he come back into the squad? Does he play? Has he possibly played his last game for Shels? That's an option too. Shels a little bit stretched with Ibsen Rossi leaving during the week, so the numbers aren't great. Still, I think Kerr McEnroy has been a huge miss for them, giving them that presence in the middle. So I think Dundalk, I said when we were previewing the games the previous week, I think there was a feeling for me that Dundalk were a little bit running on adrenaline, getting through games, just adrenaline and energy and everything else is getting them through. They were found out a little bit at home to Waterford last week, just let that slip, that 2-0 advantage, and I just didn't think they had the legs to deal with that Waterford revival. So again, Dundalk, they've the experience of Trevor Clark coming in. Arubi had picked up an injury on international duty at the start of June. He's another week of fitness behind him, so I think this is a chance for Dundalk to go. Dundalk play without fear. Shelbourne have that bit of pressure on Fitzgerald. Everyone's going to be out. The Shelbourne camp around the club are going to be wondering, they're looking at Lorcan Fitzgerald in the dugout, but who's going to be here next week? So I think it's a great chance for Dundalk.
Yeah, well, I mean, Shels' last game at Talca Park was a 3-0 defeat to Bohemians, and the record at home probably cost Joey O'Brien his job in many ways. And like Dundalk will have absolutely no fear of going to Talca Park because of what they've achieved. Like Kilduff surely should be on Shels' radar, whether he leaves Dundalk at this stage, but he's the manager of the year in so many ways.
No, and you look at their performances, and particularly like Owen Kenny, they're playing without fear, and particularly in Dublin. I mean, you saw Owen Kenny in Dalymount against Bowes. Just it looked like he owned the place, you know. And Kilduff, a huge admirer what the job that Kieran Kilduff has done with very, very limited resources compared to some other managers who were underachieving. The challenge, of course, for Dundalk is to keep them. There's a lot of interest in the UK in Owen Kenny and Bemi Arubi. That's a challenge for, and the conversations that Chris Linton and the owner and Kieran Kilduff will have. What offers come in? Do they take the first offer? What's the release clause? But I just think Kieran Kilduff will get his players in training on the bus on the way up to Shelbourne and say to them, just go out and do it. You know, Owen Kenny, you've done it. Owen Kenny's fearless. And how long more Owen Kenny and Bemi Arubi are playing for Dundalk, I don't know. Vinnie Leonard is gone. It might take some time for him to get into bet himself in at Norwich City. But Kenny, and this is a huge month for them, and a good month again for them against a European chasing team, might elevate even more interest in Kenny and Arubi.
Well, let's jump to the bottom of the table, because it didn't look like we were going to have a relegation battle, but Waterford have worked their way back to within 3 points of Sligo Rovers at the bottom of the table. Sligo were so close to collecting a big 3 points against Shels last weekend, and that was a gut punch when Paddy Barrett got that goal. But Waterford are in Derry, which is the new pitch, which Derry enjoyed last weekend. Derry, we believe, have made a big bid for Tommy Lonergan, Waterford's star striker, who's in a rich vein of form, which has been turned down, 180,000, I believe. So there's a little subplot there, but it's a big night for Waterford, because Sligo Rovers play Shamrock Rovers, which is a game Shamrock Rovers have found tricky over the years. But Waterford will be eyeing this up as a chance to draw a level with Sligo Rovers, because the Brandywell, for all that is a lovely new pitch, and Derry have a lot of good players, Derry are in the middle of another seismic transfer window, a lot of players gone. This could be a big night in Waterford season.
The subplot with Tommy Lonergan is fascinating, you know, and it was Waterford News and Star who broke the story during the week about they bid 180,000, which would be a league record. It seems that Shels broke the league record by bringing in Casey from Cliftonville in the summer, but this definitely will be a record for within the league. It shows how when Derry are backed by $1 billion, and this is a challenge for clubs. This is next week as well. Finn Harps are facing a decision over there. Do they move away from the club-owned model? Sligo have said it's really difficult for them to do it. These owners, that Philip Authority can do that. Philip Authority could bid $500,000. He's a billionaire. He could go up to $500,000. So do Waterford do it. It reminded me, we have a series in the Irish Independent every week with League of Ireland legends. So I'm reading back over stories from the 70s and 60s and 70s, and a lot of this was going on. Clubs, Waterford trying to nick a player off Dundalk nicking a player off Limerick, putting in bids and settling people. I'm not saying that Derry made the bid to unsettle Waterford this week, but it's significant that in the week that Waterford are heading to Derry in a big game for Waterford, and Waterford really have been grouped under Graham Coughlin. I really like the job he's done. He's got Hammond scoring again. He's got McMullen, his confidence back in goal. Just that plot of Tommy Lonergan, in his head, meeting in somewhere in Waterford on Friday morning and getting the bus up to Derry and thinking, Derry can offer European football. Waterford are offering a relegation battle. So I think Waterford Waterford have wealthy backers as well. It looks like Waterford are going to stand their ground. And do Derry come back with a bigger offer? Do they come back with 250 grand? It's an interesting. It's a huge game for Derry, because Derry, you just feel they haven't been able to get the momentum. I do think they have a chance now they were indifferent in Celtic Park. They have a chance now with the new pitch, and to get there is a bit of goodwill. The danger, of course, is they've Europe coming up. They've really tricky tie, and even if they lose to CSK Sofia in the first round, their parachute entry into the Conference League is going to be a difficult tie as well. So it could be a brilliant month for Derry. If they get tanked by CSK, say Sofia, it'll drop again. So I find Waterford, I think we keep Tommy Lonergan, go up there, keep the job that Graham Coughlin has done, and keep on going the way they're going.
Shamrock Rovers' thoughts will turn to Europe soon, and it's obviously massive for them, but they are 7 points clear of Bohemians at the top of the table. Sligo Rovers have caused them problems in the past, but this is top against bottom, and a chance for Rovers to close out this kind of phase of the season on 50 points and well clear of the chasing pack. They should, even with Pico Lopez at the World Cup, you would have maybe anticipated they might experience a few wobbles, and they have. It hasn't been seamless, but they'd have taken that at the start of the season. We always have to be careful with our terminology for this game. If say Rovers, are we talking about Shams or the Hoops, or who are you talking about? Both clubs, by Shamrock Rovers fans hate the name Shams. Sligo Rovers consider that they're the real Rovers. I think Sligo Rovers will be hugely disappointed with the last month. They could have got a draw away to St Pat's, lost 2-0. They should have beaten Shelbourne at home 2-0, let 2 goals slip. I think John Russell has done a really good job over the last couple of years, but he needs help. He needs players. They lost 2 players, Traore and Blaney left during the week. There are a lot of injuries. Meekison has only just come back, but they missed a lot of players. They need 4 or 5 players to make them a force. I don't think Sligo Rovers really will get anything from them. I think the morale
damage to morale of being 2-0 up at home last week and drawing 2-0 to Shelbourne. I think that'll eat at them. I think the Sligo Rovers team we'll see this weekend will be different to the team we'll see at the end of the month. So John Russell just needs help from the club to get players in. There may be players signed from a lot of Shamrock Rovers have trimmed. They let Trevor Clark go. Bohemians may trim a little bit. Lee Kavanagh's left to go to, which John Russell may have to pick up on those. But if you're Shamrock Rovers, I just think there are options. John McGovern to me has been huge for them over the last couple of weeks. He's not starting. He's probably frustrated at not getting starts. So many times I've seen Shamrock Rovers where John McGovern has come on and turned the game, and that's their strength. John McGovern, I think, will in time play for Northern Ireland at senior level. I think he's a tremendous player when he gets a run. They're interested in Jonathan Afolabi. I think that deal will be done in the next couple of days. So you look at what Shamrock Rovers have, those front options. I think if it's not working, whatever they start with, if they start with Noonan, bring on McGovern. If they start McGovern and it isn't going right, you bring on Noonan, you bring on Graham Burke. I think it's going to be a tough night for Sligo Rovers. I mean, John Russell just needs more bodies.
It's if Rovers do win, Shamrock Rovers do win, they will be on 50 points, and it's really incumbent on the second and third teams to try and stay on their coattails. And it's even, Bohs are currently 7 points behind. St. Pat's are on 38 points. They've got 2 games in hand, but they're 9 points behind Shamrock Rovers. And it's going to be really interesting. We were both in Dailyman Park on last Friday night. Was Bohs with 10 men for more than 45 minutes after Pat Hickey's red card beat St. Patrick's Athletic 2-0. Having been 1-0 up at half time before the being reduced to 10 men after Patrick Hickey's red card. And you could really sense the disappointment from Stephen Kenny in the way his team played in the second half. It was a real body blow. Every time Pat seemed to get a bit of momentum, a little bit like both teams, they're the chasing pack really. They keep getting in their own way in some ways. And how Pat's bounced back at home to Galway United, who have brought in Lee Kavanagh on loan from Bohs till the end of the season, will be a big moment in their season, because they've got a chance in the next month to try and close that gap on Shamrock Rovers. They're realistically the ones who can do it because they've got the games in hand. But they have to start winning games consistently.
Pats, you were hugely frustrated coming away last week, and the amount of possession. I was watching the game and you just think they'd so much possession in the second half. Bohs down to 10 men. And Bohs just absorbed it. They took it up, and Pats had no cutting edge, they no conviction. It's not like Paul Walter was making 6, 8, 10 saves. Pats just, if I was a Pats fan, I'd be looking at them going, how can we not turn this possession into chances? And it's something that was often said before about Stephen Kenny's Ireland. It was possession for possession's sake. They weren't doing anything with it. It was far too easy for Paul Walters. The big thing for Bohemians for me is now this clean sheets for Paul Walters. It was a big goal from Manuel Reynolds, when we won't go over the controversy over Kasper Hronschka and his wedding again, but to keep Paul Walters in goal when Hronschka was available. And he's now got a couple of clean sheets. That I see that fight in Bohemians. The criticism of Bohs in the previous few games was 3 times out of 4 they went win 1-0 up and crumbled. 1-0 up away in Derry and lose 4-1. 1-0 up at home to Shamrock Rovers, they crumbled. That to me suggested something that was wrong in terms of character, morale, or defensive bite, or that sort of tigerish thing you need. They've shown that in the last couple of weeks. A clean sheet with 10 men against St. Pat's and a clean sheet away to Shelbourne. That's championship winning form. I'm not saying Bohs are good enough to win the league, but that's what was missing, that fight. Hickey, they missed Pat. Bohs will miss Pat Hickey this weekend, but you look at St. Pat's, they've some power back. I think that's his first game this season. He's another attacking option, but Pat's had all the attacking options against Bohs and didn't do anything with it. So Pat's just needs something. Edmondson hasn't scored in a while. Just something not quite clicking with St. Pat's at the moment.
Bohs are in Drogheda. Drogheda kind of in danger of getting sucked into a relegation battle. Maybe they are in a relegation battle. Maybe I'm being too generous on them. Galway are 2 points ahead of them, and Galway have been strengthening, like proactive in the transfer market. They've got a game in hand over everyone. They've only played 21 games. But if they can kind of pick up a couple of points, they can kind of put themselves in that limbo where they're not quite good enough to get into Europe, but they're just a little bit above the fray. But again, they could be sucked in as well. But Drogheda, Kevin Doherty's another name that will be linked with the vacant Shelbourne manager, given his history with that club. But it's a very different proposition for him this season. Last year they were chasing Europe right until the final day. He's done an incredible job. But this year they're back in that dogfight. They've obviously had lots of disruption and off-field distractions earlier on in the season. But this, the Bohs coming to town, I think they won 3 of the 4 games against Bohs last year. This is an important game for them to try and get 3 points and just close out this window on a positive note.
This is a different Drogheda to last year. Drogheda were so tight defensively last year. That brilliant spine of Denison through to Keeley. That's not there this year. I think they haven't had a clean sheet in 7. They're just leaking goals. I'm sure as a former defender, Kevin Doherty is going in for his debrief with the staff after games going, how have we conceded those goals again? Andrew Quinn has been missing. I think he's been a huge loss, but Keeley I don't think has been the force. They've changed the goalkeeper. Tally was in, Denison was in, Tally came in, Denison's back in. Hasn't changed things. I think the squad needs a revamp. I think it needs a refresh. It just looks a bit stale. They are carrying injuries. Kieran Cruz as a player could have been huge for them. He's been missing. Drogheda, I think again, we're talking about what people above the manager can do. It's the clubs who have a director of football, who have resources and scouts who bring in. They all need, St Pat's are probably okay, Bows are okay, the big squads. But someone like Drogheda, they need 2 or 3 players. They need something else in defence, because what they have now, that they concede an average of 2 goals a week, and that's not going to keep you up. But I would think Bows, the attacking options, they're not reliant on Douglas James Taylor. When you've Harry Vaughan, a huge deal for Bows this week to get Harry Vaughan. He's a crowd pleaser, he's in form, he's a great player to watch, attacking player. One thing about the league at the moment is lovely to see attacking players. Ruby I talked about before, Will Fitzgerald, I'm a huge admirer of, but Harry Vaughan and Keane Levy, like, they're players who worth watching. If you're trying to market the league, they're 2 brilliant ball. Give them you look at how we want to progress the league. They're 2 players who are in the Irish setup from different scenes. Keane Levy went to England, Irish born, but who went to England as a kid, has come back. Harry Vaughan came through the granny rule, now back in Ireland trying to get his career going again. They're just brilliant to watch. I just think Bows, with the form that those players are in, Ross Tierney's in great form, Harry Vaughan, the wide players, they can leave Rooney out and bring him in. I think it's going to be a tough night for Drogheda, and I think, as I said about Sligo, watch the team that Drogheda have on Friday against Bohemians to the team they have at the end of the month. I think you see a lot of changes.
Well, it's another big night in the League of Ireland, and you can follow it all on the Irish Independent.